Shavua Tov, a good Vach. I'm sure everyone's getting ready for Slichas. Shana is just around the corner. I want to share a true story that I think connects very much to the time we are in right now, getting ready for Rosh Hashanah. In the late 30s, when Jews in Europe were very, very scared of what Germany was doing, but they still were not sure of what the intentions were, there was a young boy. He was 12 years old. His name was actually Weiss. Today he is one of the most prominent rabbis in Yerushalayim, the head rabbi certifying the Eida Hareda. His name is, I think, Tuvia Weiss, Rabbi Tuvia Weiss. At the time he was 12 years old, and the rabbi of his village said, travel to the nearby town some 4 miles away and speak to the head of the community and ask him for guidance what we should do now. Because people were saying, don't worry about it, we'll wait it out and run, don't run. People didn't know what to do. So this young Tuvia ran 4 miles to the next city, and he approached the head of the community and he said, I was sent to find out what we should do. What's your advice? And this community leader said, my advice is leave as quickly as you can. Forget your house, your money, your business. The danger is worse than we think it is, worse than you think it is. You must escape in any way possible. As the boy was about to leave, this community leader said, England has agreed to take care of 1,000 Jewish kids whose parents are willing to send them to England, which should hopefully be out of harm's way. And obviously anyone wants one of those tickets, for a child. You seem a very special child. I'm going to give you a ticket that you can leave and be saved by going to England with this kinder transport. So young Tuvia ran back to his city and reported to the rabbi what he said. Please take advantage, everyone leave and do what you can to escape. And then because he had a ticket, his parents sent him back to catch the train to go to England. Because he wasn't yet bar mitzvah, his parents didn't have tefillin ready for him, but they gave him a code of Jewish law, which he obviously became quite proficient in. He traveled to England, one among 1,000, and they were all settled among many different families. And one day, a few months after this story took place so far, the King of England, I believe it was King Edward, announced that he would like to see these 1,000 children that England is sponsoring and agreed to help. So all the children were gathered. They lined the side of the roads, and the King of England, King Edward, came down the road in a horse and wagon looking at the children. And of course, as he went by, all the children cheered and shouted, thank you, and long live the king, and whatever they shouted. All of a sudden, one of these 1,000 boys broke loose and ran towards the carriage of the king. Well, he didn't get too far before the guards stopped him, but the king noticed, and he noticed it was a child, and he ordered the guards, bring the kid up to my wagon, I want to see what he wanted. So the child came, was introduced to the king, and he said, Your Majesty, we're so grateful to you and your country for saving our lives, but it's hard to rejoice when we know that our mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers are still in deadly danger. And the king was touched, and he said, tell me again your name and your parents' names, your family, where they live, what city. And 3 weeks later, that family, thanks to the king's intervention, was rescued and brought to England where they could join their son. That's the end of that little story. But imagine, had this child approached Buckingham Palace or wherever the kings hang out and banged on the door and said, I need to talk to the king, he needs to help me out, my parents are in danger, you can understand what would happen then. But here the king, literally, it's a true story, the king left his palace and went to see what's going on with his country, with these people in need, and that was an opportunity for the child to approach him, share his sincerest wish, and it was actually granted. Well, we are told that in this month, as we prepare for Rosh Hashanah, The King, Hashem, the King of all kings, is also in the field. He comes close to us, helping us to get close to Him. Let's take the opportunity to ask for what's important and to make every effort to get closer to Hashem. Have a good vach, have a good year, have a good everything.